Hello everyone and welcome to a very windy Northamptonshire. So I'm at my mum's house, or should I say in my mum's garden, and what they've got is the leaning shed of Malton Pinckney, but what they want is a summer house or a garden room, and they want to go in this space about 4.8 metres by 2.4. So I'm going to try something different as the base, and that's using these recycled plastic grids. I'll put a link to these down below, and they just click together, so I'm going to get them laid out. So perhaps a more traditional base would be to use concrete, but that's time consuming, expensive and not very environmentally friendly. So I thought I'd give this a go. And it certainly goes together very quickly. So I got it down and then decided we don't have enough grids because we've got to put an extra row at the front. So when you step out the front door, you actually step onto the grid and the gravel. So now, got the spade, I'm going to use the grids as a template, run around the outside and get it cut out along the turf. So another good thing about this system is with them all clicked together, it's perfectly square. So it makes a really good template, no measuring needed. Just a bit of hard work to actually cut all the way around it. Now with it cut out, I no longer need the grid there, but luckily it's pretty easy to move. Just in 2 sections I could pull it out onto the grass. With it out the way, it's then just the tedious job of lifting all the turf. So that was hard work. I definitely do not want to become a landscape gardener. Now with all that turf removed, the ground's pretty level, but what I'm going to do is dig it over with a fork and then rake it to get as level as possible. So with it dug over and any big lumps broken up and any stones removed, or big ones anyway, I can then get the rake, move the soil around and get as level as possible, using a long spirit level to check the ground. Now I want to compact the soil. Now there's definitely proper tools for this, but I was going for a cheap, low cost option, and that was just trampling it all down. First with a board of wood, and then just walking over it, stamping it all down a few times. So before the grid goes back on, a weed-proof membrane needs to go down. So I'll put a link down below to this as well. I had to use a few bits, easy to cut, and sometimes you can stake it down. But because the grid's going on top, I didn't feel the need to stake it as the grid is going to hold it in place. So the grid goes back on and gets clipped together, and as you can see, I'm still waiting on a few bits to get delivered. But that doesn't mean I can't start filling it up with pea shingle. One of these tipping carts is a great tool, and I definitely want one for my garden. So with the shingle down, it can just be raked out into the grid. If you're interested in that tipping cart thing, I'll put a link to that down below as well. Lots of links in this video. So, obviously I want to run power out there, so what I've got is some 6mm armoured cable, and I'm going to dig a trench for it. Now the neighbour came over, they just moved in and said, do you want this old ladder? So I said yes, so I can use that as a straight edge, use the spade, to cut along it, remove the turf, and then I've got a trenching spade. So now I've got a trenching shovel, get all this turf removed, and then the great job of digging a trench. Now, this looks like quite a daunting job, and we did talk about hiring a mini digger to do this, but all in all, I think it probably took half a day to do, so not too bad. I'm not saying it was a fun job, it was definitely hard work, but it was quite doable. The tipping cart definitely came in handy again, and as you see, I put a tarpaulin down on the grass so I could pile up all the soil, because in a bit, it all needs to go back in there again. Now with the trench dug, I've gone down to about 40mm, so it's time to get the cable put in. Now we'd already talked to an electrician about where to run it, and they're going to come back and hook it up at both ends. So all I had to do was get the cable in, and then it's just repeating or going backwards through the process, filling the hole back up and getting the turf back on. Right, I hope you recognise me. Time for the base. Now, this needs to be 2.4 metres wide. So luckily, that is exactly the size of these treated 4x2s. So I couldn't get any timbers the exact length of the workshop, so I'm going to make the base out of 2 frames. The first frame is easy because it's just 4 of these screwed together. So I get them laid out. So I'm going to get a couple of screws into each corner using these Volt 100mm screws. So the easy bit's done, now we've got to do some cutting. So I invested in a mitre saw stand just for this project. At my great age, I just couldn't face a few days of working off the floor, and having it set up like this makes it so much easier. So I can build the second frame on top of the first frame, then pull it into its new position, get it clamped to the first one and screwed together. Then I fill the gaps with joists working at 600mm centres and get loads of noggins put in place using up the scraps. Now, to go on top of it, I've got some 18mm plywood, which fits perfectly, almost. So I get the ply screwed down to one edge, and then because the ply's square, I can then shift the frame to make sure it lines up on the second edge, and then get that screwed down, pretty confident that my whole frame is square. I keep doing the same thing until I've got 4 full sheets down, and then the 5th one is going to overhang and need trimming off. So the OSB is all down, but it's bigger than the base. It overhangs a little at the back and quite a lot at one side, so I'm just going to use the track saw to trim it all flush. This Bosch circular saw that runs on a track gets lots of use on this project, and I've got a bench dog square, which makes it really easy to set up to do these kind of square cuts. I could use a longer rail though. So the base is all done, so I'm going to leave it here for now, and next time we're going to get the walls framed and hopefully up. So thanks for watching. Thanks to my patrons, and please subscribe for more videos.